What if a famous brand such as Flamin' Hot Cheetos had a streetwear brand? And if you're like me, you're wondering what the hell does that look like? I had a vision for what I wanted to do, so I needed a few image assets and I found some online. All that's left to do is open up Photoshop and get started. So I have like this little asset folder set up here, and we can make this much bigger if we wanted to. That looks pretty good. And you know, if I wanted to make the bricks smaller, I could do that, but I don't mind them being bigger. So my idea was to have him coming out of the wall, but before I even go that far, I want to go ahead and erase the bottom part of his shoe. We do not want that, so I'm just gonna go to my eraser, magic eraser, and let's just get rid of it. It's pretty cool how easy this tool is to use. I mean, it works so good. I have good news for you guys. My good friends over at Aleique are ready to help you start your clothing brand. That is right. All you need is a Shopify store, then simply install the free Aleique app to your Shopify store and you can be up and running in minutes and customizing your own products. They offer the best brands in the industry that you can start printing on today. And did I mention they don't charge a monthly fee? That is right. You can get started today, no monthly fee. All you have to pay for is your Shopify store and you're good to go. Real talk for a second. If you guys want to start something, there's never going to be the best time. You have to start right now. Start investing in yourself. So that brand in the back of your mind that you've always wanted to start, you could start today using the link in the description below. Back to the video. Now what I want to do is actually cut out a portion of the bricks and then cut the center out as well. But I don't want to just cut it out to the point where it just looks sharp. Like for example, if I use a pen tool or lasso tool, it's going to make it look sharp. So instead I'm going to add a layer mask and I'm going to press B on my keyboard, and let's go to an actual brush that could mimic the roughness of bricks. I hope that makes sense. Once I was done making my initial cut around the outside edges, I decided to place Chester above the brick and lower the opacity on him so I can see where I want to cut the inside bricks out. And at this point, I was really second guessing my decision to keep Chester because to me, it just didn't look streetwear enough. And I realized that some people are probably going to say that, but I wanted to keep the original feel and authenticity of the brand. So I feel like you have to have Chester in there at least once. So now that I have my bricks all cut out, all I did was basically duplicate them and use that duplicate copy as a drop shadow. And this is going to be really good because it's going to bring a little bit more depth into our bricks and make them look like there's actual dimension there. And let's duplicate Chester the cheetah now and basically just fill this layer with black and then add a slight Gaussian blur. And when I go ahead and drag it down a little bit, you can see it actually looks like he is on top, or I should say in front of the wall, which sells that effect so much better. And that's pretty much it. Now let's group him and name this cheetah. And now we could duplicate this one more time. And with this top layer, we can paint out the areas that we want to go behind, which is really awesome. I will want to use a soft round brush for this since we do have some drop shadows that we're working with. But as you can see, it actually creates that depth that we're looking for. And we're not quite done yet because we will need to add some highlights and flames and all this other cool stuff that I have in my mind. So we'll do that in a second. Now that depth is being sold and it just looks so much better. So now what I want to do is with this new layer that I just created above the cheetah bottom, I'm going to go ahead and fill it all with black. So I'm just going to take my lasso tool, select around the areas, and you'll see why, and just fill this with black. And we actually want that layer below everything. So this is going to be our background fill color. And with that background fill color now, I'm going to add another layer above it. And this is where I'm going to add a slight variation in color. So I'm going to make this a little bit lighter. So I'm going to go like a dark gray with this. And let's make our brush really big. And you can see that when I start painting, it's going to create that depth that we're looking for. And we're not even done yet because we still need to add flames. So now I'm going to add the flames. So I'll make a new layer above everything. For the flames, I'm just going to use a red color first. So let's go to our reds, press OK. And I want to add a little bit of smoothing since I am using a mouse. That will help me create smoother lines. And let's just start making some flames. And there's nothing to this. They can be as sloppy or clean as you want them to be. It does not matter. And then let's close it up at the bottom, and we can maybe even have a little bit of flame peeking out right here as well, going above his finger, something like that. And let's make another layer and make this more of like an orangish yellow. Somewhere right here looks pretty good. And this one, I'm gonna make the brush a little smaller, and let's just paint those fine details in. And again, with the paint bucket tool, I can fill it in just like that, pretty easy. And let's do the same thing for all the other ones. Now I'm going to add an outer glow to each layer. So we have a red outer glow on the red, and then we're going to have a yellow outer glow on the yellow. And you can even color pick the same color so they match. And I'm just adding a little bit of noise, and I'll zoom in a second so you can see what I'm saying. So let's zoom in, and you can see what the noise is doing. It just makes it look less flat. And then with the yellow, we're going to do the same thing by copying this effect over. And then we just want to change the actual color to yellow. So let's go ahead and group these and name these flames top. And then we're going to make another copy of the flames and bring it below everything. That way we create that illusion that it's in the wall. So this will be flames under, whatever you want to name it. So flames under, we're going to keep those normal, but the flame top, we're going to actually add a layer mask and invert it, and then basically paint in where we want those flames to be seen. And then I'm going to use a soft round brush for this, so everything is nice and smooth and there's no harsh edges. And that's pretty much it. So it's going to look something like this. And we only want to paint the top parts. Everything that's behind the wall, we don't want to touch. So this part right here at the bottom, we need to keep that normal. Now they actually look like they're going under. We did forget one right here on the bottom right, so let's go ahead and paint those in. If flames were lighting up the inside of the wall, it would have a little bit of a highlight. So what I'm going to do is go to my brick depth, and let's go ahead and make a new layer above it. And this is going to be our highlights. Now we can use yellow or red. I'm just going to probably use red for this one. So let's go to the red color. And then from here, I'm going to take my flow down to like 20 or even 17% actually is fine. And just kind of do this. And as you can see, it creates some depth. We want to do this for most of the inside of the wall since it will be catching the highlight from the flame, which would be mostly red. There would be some yellow in there too, but I'm not even going to go there. And whatever's furthest away from the flame would obviously be lit up a little less. So we don't need to worry about that too much. But that looks pretty good. Now we have our rim light. If we wanted to, we can honestly add a little bit of a Gaussian blur to it just to make it blend a little bit more. Where the background fill is, I did forget to add a little bit of red back there. So I'm just going to clip both of these to the background fill, which is just the black that we added behind Chester. And I'm going to add a little bit of that red and maybe even a little bit of the yellow because there would be a little bit of cast of yellow as well. So now we have the red and the yellow. And now let's go ahead and group everything together. And I'm going to press, let's see, Shift Command Option E. Better yet, let's go ahead and do this. Let's hide the background, Shift Command Option E again to create a duplicate copy. And I'm going to go all the way up to Filter, Filter Gallery. We're going to add a little bit of a stamp effect to this. What I want to do actually before I go that far is I'm going to duplicate it one more time. We're going to texture Chester and we're also going to texture the brick separate. So we have full control over it. With this one, I'm going to focus just the brick. So this one's going to be a little bit probably less intense on Chester himself, but again, this is just to affect the brick. So something like that's okay for the brick. I'm going to press OK, but again, it's not a lot of texture on Chester. So let's go ahead and do another one, and this time focus on Chester only, and you'll see how we combine both. So there we go. We have one for Chester and one for the brick. So let's go ahead and toggle the brick on, and in that group, we can honestly toggle the group back on at this point and just change the blend mode to multiply. And as you can see, it gives a little bit of texture, and then we can lower the opacity to like 50%. And then we do the same thing for the other layer, only this time I'm gonna add a layer mask and invert it and paint back only the parts on Chester. I'm just gonna copy the original cheetah and basically just use that as a layer mask, and this will make our life a lot easier. So there we go. And there you go, just like that, we have some texture on the cheetah, which is awesome. It looks great. And we can start applying some final textures and halftone patterns to make this really come together. And now I'm just going to add a pattern over this, and I'm going to use a halftone pattern to really make this look better. So I'm going to change the blend mode of this to overlay, and it's going to look a little weird at first, but if I add a levels adjustment over this, you can see that it will start to come together. So I'm going to add a hue and saturation adjustment above everything as well, and then lower the saturation just a little bit. and that looks pretty good. I had a little bit of grain above Chester as well, just to give it a little bit of more detail. I imported 2 more textures that I really like. I might not even add that one. I might just use this one right here. I went ahead and duplicated my group so I can use it as a mask for my textures. So basically I don't want the textures going into the background or bleeding into the background, which is why I made that mask. And then I'm going to desaturate it, change the blend mode to whatever. So I think I'm going to try screen on this one, and let's go ahead and convert that to a smart object. And then we can basically just change the levels to bring out the details. I was going to use a logo, but I decided against it. So what I'm going to do instead is just type out what I want to type out. So we'll do Flamin', and maybe even have them the same exact font size. I kind of like the idea of that, just keeping it super simple. And I do want Flamin' Hot to be a little thicker, so I'm gonna add an outer stroke to this. Let's do a 3 pixel stroke on the outside of Flamin' Hot, and we'll just copy that over to Cheetos as well. And that's pretty much it. And let's go up to filter, filter gallery, and let's add a stamp. I actually like it just like that. I'm not even sure if I want that texture there now. So what I'm gonna do is probably take the text and add that same grunge that we added to the design to this, because I think that would look really good. So let's clip it, everything to the text. And now you can see it actually looks vintage. Without further ado, here's Flamin' Hot Cheetos turned into a streetwear brand. Before I go, today's comment is by the user, the man from Volantis 9321, and he said, "Yo, C." I like how you called me C, actually. That's kind of funny. He said, "Yo, C, I haven't checked in for a while, and I remember in the past you were concerned about weight gain. Today I opened the video and wow, you look amazing, just saying." Now this comment made my day, and I'll tell you guys why. I was struggling with weight gain. I don't know why, but I just gained weight really quick all of a sudden. I went from like 168 all the way to 240 in a matter of like a year, and I didn't know why. It could have been health related, I don't know. But I have been taking my health very serious, and I've been on a diet, and I've been consuming way less calories and just eating better. And I am so happy you noticed, dude. So thank you so much for your comment. All right, I'll catch you guys in the next one.